Goddess Rhongomyniad. Goddess Rhongomyniad, Megami Rhongomyniado, also known as the Lion King, Shushiro, is the wandering goddess version of Artoria Pendragon from the same world as the alternate world Bedivere. She appears in the Camelot Singularity of Fate/Grand Order and forms the Knights of the Lion King. Within Fate/Grand Order Arcade, she manifests as a Lancer-class servant in the Lost Jerusalem Singularity. Goddess Rhongomyniad is an alternate form of Artoria Pendragon from a parallel world where Bedivere never returned Excalibur to the Lady of the Lake after the Battle of Camlan. The Lion King, who has the same appearance as Lancer Artoria, was not able to die when she was fated to die, and as a result, became a wandering ghost while keeping on to the Holy Lance. Because the Lion King held on to the Holy Lance and transformed into the Goddess Rhongomyniad, changing into a complete divine spirit in the process, this version of her is different in the inside compared to the normal Lancer Artoria. While she possesses the same appearance as Lancer Artoria, Goddess Rhongomyniad is essentially a different person. Appearance. Goddess Rhongomyniad has a similar appearance to Artoria, more specifically her Lancer version. However, her version of helmet features white fur instead of golden one, and that while Lancer has strong, serene and heartful emerald eyes, Goddess Rhongomyniad instead has bright lime green soulless eyes, signifying the Artoria who lost her human heart. Forms and alternate versions. Lion-Helmed Knight. After Bedivere returned Excalibur to the Lion King, severing her link with Rhongomyniad in the process, her existence came to an end. The collapse of the Holy City and the Camelot Singularity meant the end for the avatar of the Holy Lance as well. As such, even if Chaldea encountered another alternate version of King Arthur wielding the Holy Lance, it'd be a different person. However, on the events of the Solomon Singularity, a mysterious lion-helmed knight wielding Rhongomyniad and accompanied by the Bedivere-possessing Switch-On, Ergetlam was seen aiding the Knights of the Round Table in their fight against the demon god Pillars. This version of Artoria referring to herself as the King of Storm was also seen in Tristan's interlude. After the combined efforts of full-power Gawain, Lancelot and Bedivere proved to be unable to restrain the angered Tristan, who had been mysteriously empowered by the gifts Reversal, Knightless and Rampage. The lion-helmed knight appeared once again. By using her lance, she easily overpowers Tristan's Fail Not, piercing through his blessings. After defeating him and reverting him back to his normal state, she detects that her older sister, the fairy princess, must have been related to the incident, and considers the possibility of her having been summoned somewhere else. It is unknown if the lion-helmed knight is the actual living Lion King himself, who survived after the events of Camelot, or a remnant of some kind such as a heroic spirit that was recorded in the Throne of Heroes. Personality. Compared to the regular Artoria who merely suppressed her emotions, this Artoria has little if any emotion left in her. As a result of her becoming a divine spirit, she has lost all sight of human value and reason. Goddess Rhongomyniad does not see the value of human life, only seeing value of humanity as a whole. She believes her means of freezing and storing purely good human souls to preserve humanity eternally is the ideal of protecting them and bringing them happiness. This is in contrast to the regular Artoria, who believed merely sheltering the people will not grant them a happiness nor a future. As well, her past self also believed that hard work, raising children, and leading fulfilling lives will bring prosperity to the people. She is far colder to Mordred than the regular Artoria, only allowing her to stay within the holy city during the day. She was content to use and discard her son, as evidenced by her gift of Rampage, which burns Mordred's soul with every use, and letting Mordred be destroyed if she remained outside in the event Rhongomyniad successfully destroyed everything outside of Camelot. However, she is fairly forgiving and trusting of Sir Lancelot. Goddess Rhongomyniad will laugh if she finds something amusing, such as the prospect of getting a thank you kiss from Romani Archamon. Of course, this may have been due to her humanity being restored when Excalibur was returned to her. Abilities. Due to having wielded the Holy Lance for 1,500 years, Artoria's mental structure and spiritual makeup drastically changed, transforming her into a full goddess, the highest-ranking divine spirit there is. As the Lion King, Artoria's raw power is so vast, that after Ritsuka's party first arrived to the city of Camelot and saw her for the first time, Dr. Roman stated that the spirit origin output they just observed was far beyond that of King Arthur in Chaldea's data, far surpassing Saber Altar and Lancer Altar. In fact, based on that performance alone, she is said to stand beyond the realm of a servant. Her magical energy surpasses space and time, as shown in her final fight against Ritsuka's party, where just her initial attacks were strong enough to reach Chaldea in the present day, blowing pieces of Sheba away. Even a casual strike from her lance is enough to blast Gawain, the toughest Knight of the Round Table, in a near-death state not only through the castle wall but to the holy city's outer wall as well. After King Hassan effortlessly deflected a slash from Excalibur Gallatin powered by the sun, Gawain estimated that the might of the Old Man of the Mountain rivaled her, indicating that goddess Rhongomyniad's fighting capabilities are on the level of a grand servant. The reason the Camelot singularity was an exception among exceptions is because it existed nowhere in this world. The reason there was nothing outside of the desert of the Holy Land is that era had already been separated from human history by goddess Rhongomyniad. The king of magecraft was no longer the one trying to destroy that era, nor the one who created it. It was the Lion King, the one that sacrificed one of the foundations of humanity to create her own utopia. A feat that can only be achieved by a god. Even if Chaldea defeated Solomon, the mere existence of the Lion King and her sacred lance would remain as a cancer even after humanity's restoration. After becoming a goddess, Artoria also acquired a new level of perspective on par with the king of magecraft, understanding both his ideal and his purpose. Her gained awareness over the flow of time is such that she learned both that Solomon's temple resides outside of time, and that in the Babylonia singularity there may be an evil that surpasses him on power. She also knows Dr. Roman and Ritsuka's true names just from looking at them without having met them before. Furthermore, she possesses the unusual ability to travel through time without rayshifting as shown when she reached the Camelot or Solomon singularities on her own. Skills. Divinity? Rank Artoria Pendragon was originally a legend born on this earth, but through the sacred lance, she became one that sits in the heavens. After transforming into a goddess, her levels of divinity became such that any servant would cower before her. A normal servant cannot stand against the power of her authority. Protection of the ends of the world? Rank a skill automatically granted to the owner of the Holy Lance. It grants the user divine protection from the farthest ends itself. Noble Phantasm. The Lion King wields Rhongomyniad, a divine construct regarded as the Spear of the End, and said to be on par with Surtur's anti-world attack capable of incinerating the entire planet. Rhongomyniad's true form was originally the tower that fastens the outer layer of the world onto the planet. The Holy Lance Rhongomyniad makes that tower, a pillar of light, as its main body, existing to ensure the world's stability. However, due to its original power being limited by the 13 restraints, it is barely in a state where it can succeed in taking form as a noble phantasm. In order to release its true name, it is necessary to lift at least 6 of the total restraints. Should it be invoked without filling this requirement, the attack shall only release a fragment of Rhongomyniad's full power, which can only be unleashed in a fight to protect the world. The Lion King's main offensive asset is her holy judgment. According to Dr. Roman, the magical energy of this attack had a value of over 3 million, even though the highest-ranked noble phantasms usually only range between 1,000 and 300. Even the Sun King Ozymandias didn't attack her until the very end in fear of her counter-attack, and he was as cautious of it as he was of King Hassan. This attack was nullified by Arasha's Stella, a max-ranged remote attack that literally splits the land, ending all conflicts. The Lion King also uses Rhongomyniad defensively as shown when she used its outer shell to build the holy city of Camelot in a single night. The walls of her fortress are incredibly durable, and they repel without taking a scratch any malicious attack due to the Camelot castle only granting access to those with righteous hearts. This is a similar effect to Masha's Lord Camelot, which is a derivative of her summoning the white walls of Camelot to block attacks. Even lawful good servants such as Bedivere can't hope to damage the Camelot gate. It took Xuanzang Sanzang using her final Buddha palm, Noble Phantasm, which summons the Fist of the Buddha, as a suicidal attack to destroy Camelot's front gate. Even then, the attack only succeeded due to Xuanzang having no malicious intent towards the Lion King, and using her power to save rather than to defeat. Something Da Vinci states only her could do. Moreover, Goddess Rhongomyniad can further protect her fortress by activating walls made out of the same light as Excalibur. Thanks to these walls of magical energy, not even Ozymandias' Dendera electric bulb is able to reach inside the city, forcing the Sun King to transform half his spirit origin into magical energy to shoot his ultra-long-range divine punishment 9 times more in order to break through them. By turning the holy city into the Tower of the Ends of the World, the entire area becomes the ends of the world. As the Tower of Light, the world that is made up accordingly with the physical laws of the present will peel and fall off, and the many phantasmal laws that were the way of the past would be expressed. In other words, in exchange for creating the complete world known as the Tower, the world outside must be destroyed. The activation of the Tower generates a space-time fracture by causing a gravitational collapse in all corners of the era. However, due to said activation taking some time, Ozymandias manages to shatter it with Ramesseum Tentiris before it completely manifests. As before its huge mass, the tower was nothing more than an ancient rickety ship. However, this was only the lance's sheath, and as such, it was required to destroy the lance in order to stop the gravity fluctuation. Despite the many powerful noble phantasms belonging to servants that Chaldea witnessed during their quest to restore humanity and defeat Goetia, Da Vinci claims that even at full power, none of them could have possibly broken an entire planet apart. Even if an anti-planet noble phantasm exited on paper, it wouldn't be enough to destroy the Earth, due to the many safety provisions in place. In order to accomplish total devastation, one would first need to circumvent them all. The only ones that ever came close to accomplish this were Goetia with the Human Order Incineration Order and the Lion King, whose tower would have wiped out all of humanity except a select few of her choosing had she not been stopped by Bedivere, who managed to return Excalibur to her, thereby destroying Rhongomyniad and severing her link with the lance at the cost of his life. Other capabilities. The Lion King can summon the Knights of the Round Table, with the exception of Galahad and Bedivere, to aid her. However, they retain their free will, and as such, she has no way to make them follow her commands against their desires. She can further empower them by bestowing gifts upon them, granting them special abilities. The Lion King has access to powerful spells that allow her to create enforcement knights, beings that give off the magical responses of humans, but who are also close in form to heroic spirits. Her armies are so large and powerful that Sanzang claims that even though King Hassan and Lancelot and his forces said they'd join Chaldea in their assault on the Holy City, they alone wouldn't be enough to beat the Lion King's armies. Further, taking into account that the Lion King can fire her holy judgment from inside the city without exposing herself, Sanzang states that the difference in the forces is so great that attacking would be suicide. However, thanks to joining forces with Ozymandias, who lend them his divine beast core, an army of sphinxes and his nation's strongest unit, they were able to infiltrate the city. When directly created from Rhongomyniad's magical energy, the enforcement knights become akin to divine constructs.
If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.